What's up, everyone? It's Tony here again. Wanted to bring another video on this hashtag Black Monday. Um, add insult to injury. There has been a little bit more downside, and when I say a little bit, I mean a hell of a lot more downside. On top of the coronavirus, now we have the oil situation, and all that stuff has just compounded into a beating. But hey, it is what it is. So let's start off with the coronavirus update. Fortunately, 113,000 people are confirmed infected, nearly 4,000 confirmed dead, and 62,000 have fully recovered, hopefully. And let's go to the U.S. has skyrocketed, and that's considering that there's nowhere near the testing that should be happening. But hey, so here we have 608 confirmed infected, 22 dead. That's a rise. 8 people fully recovered allegedly, and the bulk of these. So out of 22 dead, we have 17, and then another one. So we have actually 2, so 19 out of 22 from Washington. We have 1 in Florida, 1 in California, um, and I think, yeah, 2 in Florida actually. Yeah, not looking too hot there, but that's basically the update for that. It just keeps spreading, and it's just inevitable at this point. If we look, here's one of the reasons why it's inevitable. So, or I think it's going to be inevitable. It's coronavirus can stay in the air for 30 minutes, travel twice the safe distance, according to a study. So it can hang in the air for at least 30 minutes and can travel 14 feet. They were saying 6 or 7 feet was the okay range. And on top of that, it can survive 2 or 3 days on glass, fabric, metal, plastic, or paper. So in other words, everybody's screwed. Just think about this. This is a nice little diagram here. Yeah, it's not good, but hopefully it's not as bad as we think it is. But anyways, so yeah, so in the markets, we're down a whopper of a 7 to 8%. That's crazy. It's freaking crazy. Across the board, Dow down 2,000 points. That's nearly 8%. S&P 225, 7.6%. NASDAQ 625, basically 7.3%. Yeah, oil down 25%, 10.29. That's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, and according to Kyle Bass, he says that it's, let's see what he says here. He believes this too shall pass when it comes to Monday's deep sell-off, but he's in no hurry to buy up stocks at bargain prices. He says that if you're asking for when the financial market sees peak virus, it'll be in about a month. So we shall see. That's not very good news. Let's close out of that. This is just random news. So yeah, the oil is really the main thing here. So oil. Oops, I saw my face is nice and white there. So oil plunges 25% and investors brace for a race to the bottom. So in a nutshell, what I understand is going on is America is no longer, basically we're exporters now, and we're one of the largest, basically we're like the number one, God Lord, I can't think today. So apologies everyone, it's been a long Monday. We're the number one supplier, apparently, and we are now exporters of oil instead of importers of oil. So that has changed things quite a bit. So OPEC, which was or is or was, who knows at this point, was a collaboration between different countries to kind of control supply and demand. And apparently they couldn't come to an agreement with Russia. And so now basically Saudi Arabia is ramping up their production, which means that, yeah, there's going to be much more supply. So supply and demand, more supply means prices are going to drop. So that's what's happening. So I guess there's a possibility that they may work things out, but if it doesn't, then it's a race to all-time, well, I don't know if all-time lows, but pretty close to all-time lows. Let me see if there's a Brent. I think it's BB. Brent. Let's see what this is. Is this right? Let's put some so yeah, you can see that price has plummeted here. Let me just make sure that I have I guess they were doing CL, which is sweet. Yeah, so we're talking about the crude, Brent crude. So yeah, you can see that this is quite a shocker here. I think almost all of the other, I think even, let me go to CL here. Oops, that's not it. This is like crude oil also had the same kind of impact. Yeah, it's crazy. So now let me look to see. Yeah, so it won't. Well, I guess if we get into single digits, it could be in the single digits if we get. Yeah, so we were in the single digits in late 90s. So 99, we hit. What was it? Oh wait, no, that was the low 10. So like $10.82 was the low. $10.65. So I guess below that, you're looking at the 80s was when oil was 9.75, give or take. It could be a race back to that. I would hate to see that, but we shall see. I mean, this, especially if we have it on a log chart, it's not very pretty. That's for sure. Yeah, so it looks like we're trying to stay. It looks like we definitely broke that trend line. And if I don't even want to draw this one because this one's going to be scarier. So this one, I mean, you're basically looking at the low 12s if we respect this trend line down here. So this is a trend line that that I think most people would want to see hold. This one definitely did not live up to its potential. So yeah, I think we're looking at this. We got to see how things change. I mean, let me change to a daily because you can see that on the daily, we're pretty much trying to respect that trend line there. But yeah, it's scary. It's I don't even want to pretend to know where things are going to go because I have no clue. I mean, if I told you anything else, I'd be a 100% liar, and I don't like to lie if I can avoid it. So yeah, it's just that's one of the reasons. Well, coronavirus is definitely the kind of like the feather that broke the camel's back, or the straw that broke the camel's back. And now you compound oil and all this stuff that's going on, and just yeah, it's not looking too hot lately. But I honestly think that if you see an opportunity in a stock and something that you like, and if you have the cash for it, maybe it's not a bad idea to start dabbling in. Don't go all in and buy it all at once. Just try to keep things, try to average dollar in if possible. I definitely don't like this. I mean, this hasn't closed. I mean, this is so fresh. So this is like, I mean, this gives you an idea of how crazy this price action is, because we're looking at a monthly, and literally this drop is 1 day's worth, or essentially 1 day's worth. Let me go to my little tool here. So current price action, we're looking at a 51% drop. Can't be 51% drop in 1 day though. Let me go to the weekly. That's a better idea. Holy crap. No. Okay, actually, yes. Yes, it is. So we went, let me go to the daily actually, because this is going to give us a better perspective here. So let me go to the line chart. Sorry, everyone. Bear with me, trying to do some research as I go. So this was 3.2, 3.5. Yeah, I mean, this is essentially what it is. Wow, that's so crazy. That is an insane move. Let's say that it's, let me move this a little bit more. So let's say that, give or take there, it's still at a 46% move just today. If we did, let me see here. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a 45 to 50% move in just like a day or 2 or 3. That's nuts. But let's see if we can compare it. Maybe it's not so nuts, right? I'm definitely not going to pretend that I am some sort of an oil expert. On the opposite, but lately I've been interested in, it's just to me it's so we had a drop here of about 47%, but this took a couple of days. This took what's it, not, well, actually, yeah, it took 50 days, give or take, for that to happen. So that took 50 days to drop the same amount that we dropped in a day or 2. So gives you a little bit of a perspective there. This was a nice little drop too. We go from these lows to these highs, give or take. That was 143%. Jeez. Didn't seem possible. And that took approximately from here to there, 200 days. So 2/3 of a year, give or take. Yeah, you can see how drastic this is, how shocking it is of a drop. It's, yeah, this trend line, I honestly don't even want to, I almost want to take it off, because actually maybe I'll keep it on to see if it respects that, if it stays there somehow. But yeah, it's one of the reasons why everything is melting. But hey, all these events are just kind of temporary. Overall, bear markets don't last. I think the longest bear market has been 37 months. Basically 3 years. And overall, the market historically is up. So if you find stocks that you feel are well in your, like, that you respect, that you feel are going to be good companies, that the earnings are there. If you look at, if you have the capital, if you're liquid and you can, if you want to buy in, it's fortunes are made during bear markets sometimes because of that, because people are buying long term in that in companies that they believe. And then the other thing is that, if you're doing the right study, you can short the market as well and make money. So you have to see what your plan is, what your trading plan is. Speak to your financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not regulated to give you any kind of advice. So don't take my word for it, but consult a professional, professional financial advisor. They'll be able to guide you better. But all I can say is that people make a lot of money in these bear markets. So just plan it correctly, do your thing, study, and you should be okay, hopefully. And so let's look at the charts. I think that's enough of this doom and gloom stuff. Let's look at the futures for the E-mini. So the E-mini is what we've been looking at the last couple of days. Let me look at the candles and zoom in a little bit. So to kind of reiterate, so if anybody hasn't seen, well, not long term, but I drew a hypothetical top at 38.2. It actually went all the way higher to 50%. And the retracement of that gave us a target, or gave me a target of 61.8. And it was hit and exceeded today. So we're actually looking at targets that may get hit sooner than later. So this ABCD, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Kind of give a better perspective. There we go. So I drew an ABCD that was from the swing high to the swing low, and then I just reflected it to this high. So CD. So the completion of the CD is your target, typically. So that's that D right there, the ABCD target was, let me see if I can scroll to see. It was basically 25.92. To add a little more confluence to all of this, I did a Fibonacci trend extension, and I got well, it gives you multiple kind of targets, but the first target was a 61.8, which was almost exactly 2800, and there was a resistance there, a horizontal that I had also previously drawn, and it just blew past it. So it actually respected the overall Fibonacci level of 61.8. So this Fibonacci going from the swing low of December 2018 to swing high of just a couple of days ago, to February 20th. So it's respecting that 61.8 level at the moment. But any continued fears, any continued kind of crap, remember last week, really all of it, any kind of bad news is going to give you considerably bad results. Any good news is going to give you some good results. We had some bad news with the oil, and that's basically why we had this drop. So yeah, and if things keep going the way they are, I honestly see this trend line down here being tested sooner than later. I mean, there's very little positive news coming out lately, so I just don't see any positive, anything that is going to kind of ramp it up, unless there's a cure for coronavirus. It's not so bad. Russia and the Saudis, they kiss and make up. That kind of news will drive the stocks back up, and it'll, if it's that good news, I mean, you'll see all-time highs probably. But any further bad news, and we're going to just keep seeing downsides. So yeah, if we continue this, I expect to break the 61.8 and then test this target here between the 25.92 level and the 25.50. So basically 25.50 to 2600. That would be my short-term downside targets. And I say short-term because I think it looks like every night there's something worse. so we'll see. So now, if I go back on auto and I scroll back out, even if we go back to a weekly, you can see that this is historically respected. This trend line here has been respected since 2011, October. So we have 1, 2, 3 tests as support. And I honestly do expect, I mean, we have a 200 EMA here that on the weekly, that should be, I mean, that would be kind of difficult to break. I guess we're going to add actually, yeah, that's fine. So we have to see what happens. But any kind of crappy news. I just expect this to just crush here. So yeah, Black Monday is real, and but again, these are opportunities. So I don't want for this to sound completely like Debbie Downer, but you have to see these as opportunities, right? That's what it is. So when everybody's fearing and afraid of the stock market and they're selling everything, people with money that believe in certain companies and stocks, they're going to be investing. Now, there's a lot of smart money like Kyle Bass and a lot of other people that are saying that it's going to get worse. And we may not see the worst of it until a month from now when more COVID-19 coronavirus information comes out, and maybe as Russia and the rest of the OPEC countries battle this out, now that it's a free market, maybe that's gonna, kind of be the knife that, twisting the knife inside of the markets. But we have to see. But I can expect. I see. I just see if all that continues. I just see that we not only break below the 61.8, but we break past the 200 EMA and we test the 78.6, which is this trend line. I think this trend line is key in my opinion. I think it's bound to get tested, and then that's where the real key is in the way I see things. So yeah, I mean, we just have to wait until that happens, and hopefully we have good news and we rebound after that. But yeah, it's not looking so hot lately. But you have the capital, you have the funds, you can use that to your advantage and try to. We actually have a horizontal here that we can draw. So we have 200 EMA here. We have some resistance here. There's a couple touches here and there. So a little bit of a resistance here. Actually, support, broke through, acted as resistance a couple of times, broke through, acted as support. So it's played that little game for a while. So I like this horizontal, and it happens on the weekly, and it happens to line up nicely with that 200 EMA. So yeah, I think we're going to see some resistance there, some support, sorry, at that level, so 2670. But if we do break below it, then I can just see us hitting that, what I mentioned, 2600 down to 2550. I think it's likely. But yeah, don't want to be further of a downer. I think that's pretty much it. Everything it's just so correlated right now that there's nothing. I mean, I can quickly go through these things and kind of look at. Let's look at Tesla. See Tesla future. Oh. Yeah, we had a nice tiny little rebound here. Oh, we're on the weekly. Never mind. Apologies. Well, sort of. I think everything is pretty much reacting very soon. Is there a horizontal there? I suspect Apple. I think everything is going to be pretty much a little bit of a rebound. Kind of interesting. Let me look at SPY. See how that closed. So it was a slight bounce. Probably end of the day. Let me see. Let me go to the hourly. Well, we hit pretty much bottom here. I guess. I don't see much of a positive bounce, to be honest with you. For me, this is all a slight bounce, but nothing too great. It's not even a dead cat bounce. It's nothing like that. It's just like a little bit of momentum, but nothing to rave home about. It's so far everything is so down that I don't want to see a little bit of a non-close. It's not gonna. Not a non-close. Sorry, I'm typing. I can't type and talk. Let me try to type in Pressing the wrong button. Let's look at Bitcoin. I think let's just wrap it up with that because my mind is slipping. BTC, USD. Coin. Now let's look at all right, so yeah, we're on the hourlies. Yeah, so we had a little bit of a bounce here, but you can see today was this all today? Wow, I didn't check this. So yeah, not all. Well, was it all today? Sort of, because it closes give or take. I mean, it's been there. But you know what? What's interesting here? Let's draw an ABCD. Sorry for the downtime of, well, not downtime, but my downtime of me not being able to express myself. So on a daily, we draw this ABCD from up here to these lows and then reflect it down here, and it actually hits a nice little horizontal here. So at 71.50, I expect, if we continue to have downside, I expect this actually lines up very nicely. 71.50 being a target of that ABCD move, which makes sense. You retest that bottom. So it's kind of, you know what? Let me see if I can do, because it's not, there's like, it looks like there's multiple head and shoulders kind of looks here. So if we did and again, this is all perspective. Like some people would draw like this would be the head and shoulders. So if you do that, then you do basically reflect that as your target. So it would be, which we just hit today. So that head and shoulders actually met its target. But what I'm seeing now is kind of a bigger head and shoulders. So let me get rid of this one. So again, this is all subjective. Depends who you talk to, but could be something like this as well playing out, right? And then it'll play out there. So you'd be looking at something like this. So that target would give us 6,200, give or take, which there's actually a horizontal just above that. So it's 6,300. That would be very interesting. So again, take this with a grain of salt. This doesn't mean that's going to happen. I could have drawn this wrong. Who knows? But at the very least, I like this ABCD as a target on the downside. So 71.50 on the Bitcoin, at least on Bitstamp here, it looks like a likely target. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If we hit 6,200, yeah, that'll be kind of sad because then we break these lows and we're creating new lows, and you know that's not the best case scenario, but it is what it is. And then maybe we could test that 78.6, which would be around the 5,400. So if that does happen, you're going to see a lot of people crying. But the markets are going to do what they're going to do. So I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer. I just try to see things as they're happening. I don't try to forecast anything. I just try to see basically what's happening and just trying to interpret it in the best way that I can. So hopefully this is of some value to you. And that's basically it. So stay safe. Don't get wrecked. If you haven't, I'd appreciate a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't. And maybe you can share this with somebody you think will enjoy the video. And that is all for me. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow.